So today we're going to talk about a new study that came out last month about corporate bullshit. Who hasn't been in one of those corporate meetings where some manager starts babbling about random words such as, we need to break down silos to get a 30,000-foot view of low-hanging fruits and leverage the bandwidth of our teamwork in an agile manner. Who hasn't heard that? Well, this guy named Shane Littrell out of Cornell University just came out with a study on corporate bullshit, where he measures something he calls corporate bullshit receptivity scale, so how receptive you are to corporate bullshit. And he found that those people who rate buzzword-heavy, jargon-heavy type of corporate speech as impressive or business savvy score lower on cognitive tests and make worse decisions in a business context. And they're also more likely to spread that nonsense, by the way. Now there's a difference to be made between jargon, which can be fine in a corporate environment where two professionals try to take shortcuts in words that sometimes are even more precise, and bullshit. The paper defines corporate bullshit as, I will read a quote, a semantically empty and often confusing style of communication that leverages abstruse corporate buzzwords in a functionally misleading way. So it actively leads people to reach the wrong conclusion. Namely, in that case, that the person knows what he's talking about, while he clearly doesn't. But as the saying goes, if you can't convince them, well, confuse them. Previously, a philosopher named Harry Frankfurt wrote a book called On Bullshit and defined the difference between a lie and a bullshit, where when a liar tells a lie, he's just trying to conceal the truth, knowing the truth, whilst a bullshitter just doesn't care about the truth. He's just trying to impress you. So back to this study, here's what Shane Littrell did. He created a bullshit generator. So basically, he took official sentences from corporate leaders at Fortune 500 companies and stripped some words out of them and replaced them with buzzwords. So as a result, you get some sentences that look grammatically correct, but don't mean anything. I'm going to read you one example. Our goal is to engage our capabilities by focusing our effort on executing the current transmission of our empowerment, driving an innovative growth mindset with our change drivers. And then he took those made-up sentences and mixed them up with some real actual quotes from Fortune 500 CEOs and executives. He then asked about 1,000 or so corporate employees to rate those sentences as how business savvy they were. What happened is that a significant chunk of the people couldn't tell the difference between something completely made up or something that was actually real, was said once by an executive. Now, if you think both sounds bad, you're fine. But those who find that both type of sentences were very business savvy and inspiring probably didn't notice any difference at all. So they had a high receptivity to that corporate bullshit. Now, those people who are very receptive to corporate bullshit as part of the test also scored lower, not higher, but lower, on fluid intelligence, which is your capacity to think through a problem without any prior knowledge, and scored lower on analytical thinking. In situational judgment tests, these people also made worse decisions. But, because there is a but, these same people reported higher job satisfaction. They trusted their managers more and found the company's mission statement inspiring. The author Littrell said, this creates a concerning cycle, and I'm going to quote, employees who are more likely to fall for corporate bullshit may help elevate the type of dysfunctional leaders who are more likely to use it, creating a sort of negative feedback loop. Rather than a rising tide lifting all boats, a higher level of corporate bullshit in an organization acts more like a clogged toilet of inefficiency. The research also found that those who spread bullshit the most were also more likely to fall for bullshit. And this is where the loop is reinforcing also, because you have a bunch of people saying nonsense to each other and believing that nonsense and repeating that nonsense and saying more nonsense and so on and so forth. And there is a positive reinforcement to do that. And there is no reason to stop because people found out that sounding smart was more rewarding than being actually smart in that environment. So the next time you're in one of those meetings and some corporate leader says some words and you can make no sense of those, well, probably you're not stupid. Or you're not slow to understand. That was the point of his speech. It wasn't meant to be understood. It was designed to confuse you, but inspire you in some way. So anyways, the study is in open access. I've put the links down in the description of this video. And I've also linked some articles related to that study. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please click like, click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
That's the